Ki-Adi-Mundi? What are you doing here? He's not supposed to be here.
He's never supposed to be here.
Yeah. Like, let's really say this is Tooth Guy. He is a Sith Lord. This is from the Bane line. I really like the idea that this is venomous.
Yeah.
Like if they were going
to change a character.
Yeah. Yord Horde, more like Yord Board. Can't stand this guy.
Put a shirt on. I got you. He's totally dead, don't you think?
Yeah.
I don't know if either of them are going to make it out. Granted, there is a bunch of scrubs that we don't know their names that are in that group.
To kill a Jedi without a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I cracked the code on this. Welcome back to Beyond the Dune Sea, a show all about that galaxy far, far away and beyond. My name is Konnor.
And my name's Seth.
And doing something a little different this week for the favorite comment, because we got just a stellar DM with an awesome theory from our friend JoJo_Swaggins on Instagram. And I'm just going to read the DM because it's fantastic. Okay, listening to your episode got to the part where you're talking about Deal with the Devil and the Sith and witches creating Osha and May. What are your thoughts on either the witches weren't actually exiled and were basically just hiding themselves from the Sith? Because you talked about the Sith coming back for his prize, like a Rumpelstiltskin or Law of Surprise in The Witcher maybe. Love that reference. So I wonder if they've been more in hiding than in exile because they wanted to cheat the Sith out of his prize, assuming that he is involved with their conception.
I buy it. Why not run from the Republic, run from everyone else?
I think it's good stuff.
Yes.
Because we kind of speculated that Anastasia, is a little more shady than she was letting on.
Oh, definitely. Yes. Yeah.
So I like the idea that maybe her coven thinks that they're in exile.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they all buy into the lie.
Yeah.
And like that idea. I think it's really interesting. So I thought it was a great piece of speculation.
I mean, there's definitely more to it. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. Way more to it.
Layers upon layers upon layers.
Yes. Again, we've only got half the story.
So, The Acolyte, Episode 4, titled Day. Maybe next week's titled Night.
I'm sure it is.
I'm sure it is, right?
Yeah.
They've had like these slashes in between.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, though, I'm fuming. What? Ki-Adi-Mundi? What are you doing here? He's not supposed to be here.
He's never supposed to be here.
Yeah. It seems to be a theme this week.
It's crazy.
This is what I'm talking about. I'm fuming this episode. Before we even get into 1 minute reviews, all right? Like, he's fine. He'll be right.
What about the droid attack on the Wookiees?
More like the droid attack on the black suit Ki-Adi-Mundi that's now over across the room.
It's in 7 pieces.
I'm fuming over this episode, okay? I'm mad. I'm heated. I'm wearing this blood red shirt. I got smoke coming out of my ears if you can't tell. And it's not because of Ki-Adi-Mundi. Ki-Adi-Mundi being in the Acolyte does not break canon. So if you were like me when we saw this man, this esteemed Jedi Master in the Acolyte last night, you probably looked up like, oh, interesting. How old is Ki-Adi-Mundi?
Because we even talked about the potential people that could be in the Acolyte.
Right.
Yeah, we were like looking at people. Yeah.
Like and Oppo Rancisis.
Yes, exactly. The guy, Yariel Poof.
Yeah, right? Yeah, there we go.
Exactly.
But Ki-Adi-Mundi was not on this list.
Yeah. Oppo Rancisis. I know who that is now.
Hey.
Yeah.
Learned a thing or two.
I did.
So if you look up Ki-Adi-Mundi, you just type in Ki-Adi-Mundi age like I did last night. Oh, boom. The first thing that comes up on Wikipedia. Galactic Republic and played a major role in several battles during the Clone Wars. Born 93 BBY. Oh my goodness, Disney's breaking canon. Because the Acolyte takes place in 130 BBY? He's not born yet. How could this be? Get the keyboards out, take to TikTok, take to Instagram, take to YouTube. Oh, but wait a minute. What happens if we click on the link? Born 93 BBY. Alas, I'm on the Legends tab. Wouldn't you know it? Wouldn't you know it? I'm on the Legends tab. Let me switch to canon. No birth date in canon? No. It cannot be.
The archives are incomplete.
They gotta be.
They have to be.
Someone had to come in and erase something.
Yeah,
Count Dooku's up to his old tricks.
exactly.
Now hang on. Okay. But wait a minute. How long do Sarians live?
It's a decent question.
That's clicking on Sarian. No information, I'm afraid, on lifespan. Well, let me go to Legends. What does Legends have to tell us? Because I mean, clearly that's
Yeah.
And hey, there's nothing wrong with Legends, but
No.
like where did that come from? Average lifespan. Adult 16 to 35, middle age 36 to 53, old 54 to 64, venerable 65 plus years. Oh, all right. So, man,
They're kind of like people.
yeah. So if they can only really live to be about around 70 years old, man, how's Ki-Adi-Mundi around during the Acolyte? What's the source for the average lifespan here on Wikipedia?
Yeah.
Guys, would you believe me if I told you it's from a Wizards of the Coast game that came out in 2003?
Hey, it's a role-playing game, isn't it?
It sure is.
I have that book.
It's the ultimate alien anthology. And my point is, should Disney... Look, I'd be the first to point out if Disney's out there stomping on canon.
Yeah.
First of all, this is Legends.
Yeah.
Second of all, is it really anybody's fault over there at Disney that they needed to check in with Wizards of the Coast from 2003 to make sure that their canon lined up?
I can help with this. They don't have the license anymore. They lost it shortly after the Clone Wars took over, because the last book and one of the last source books was Dave Filoni's Clone Wars. And it was only like seasons 1 or 2, and then they gave up the license after that.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Now, guys, I'm being a little silly, okay? I'm being a little over the top. My point is, please, a little bit of just due diligence with this kind of stuff. Because, hey, I was like a lot of you. As soon as I saw him, I was like, cocked my head a little bit, right? I was like, how old is that guy?
Yeah.
And like a lot of you, I saw that first thing. I was like, 93 BBY, that's a little off. But if you just do one extra click, a lot of the answers are there. You know what I mean?
This reminds me a lot of Boba Fett. Okay. Growing up, loved Boba Fett, got any kind of piece of extra media I could find. My 9th grade birthday party was all Boba Fett pretty much. Okay. And the whole thing was that he didn't really have much of a backstory. He was, journeyman Jester Mural trained him. And that was cool. He didn't know a whole lot. He had some dealings with Han Solo and stuff like that. He'd worked for Darth Vader, little bits here and there. Then, 2002. Oh no, he's the son, an unaltered clone of this bounty hunter. Completely changes everything. Blows it wide open. But, you got to roll with it because that's what George wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminds me of now, where unfortunately, they own it, and they can make these little tweaks.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe for the best. We don't know. Maybe Ki-Adi-Mundi is going to play some cool role in all of this that will connect to Phantom Menace.
Could be.
It might be. Because, again, now, with, getting Jango Fett, then that means we get the clone army and we get Rex and we get all this other, connective tissue that, Boba Fett's got all these other brothers. And he's got a sister in Omega. They're, a lot of cool stuff can come from that. When I thought it was horrible back in 2002, where I was like, well, this is dumb. All that doesn't make any sense anymore. Tales of the Bounty Hunters doesn't matter anymore. I love that book. Well, it just, not everything is going to work out for the best. But I mean, again, trust the process. The show's not even over yet.
Exactly.
So
And really, this was the point of doing away with Legends. Imagine keeping track of not only books, comic books, but
random
a
source books. Yeah.
For a role-playing game in 2003. Come on, guys. It's not like they're out there being it's not like Obi-Wan Kenobi showed up. Okay. Yeah. He's an alien species. If they tweaked his age a little bit, and like Seth just said, he might have a role to play. But
Han shot first. Never forget.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of. Anyway.
It's crazy. It's just, it's...
People still get up in arms about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, 1 minute review.
Yeah. Okay. So, 1 minute review. I enjoyed this for the most part. I've watched it twice. I liked it better on rewatch. You and I kind of argued about this. I thought some of the effects looked a little shoddy. Thought some of the lighting looked a little shoddy in a couple spots, but that's okay. This episode really reminded me of an episode of the Clone Wars, though, where it kind of moved and it ended on just kind of like a cliffhanger. And it's like, oh, clearly this is supposed to be like a bookend to another episode. But overall, thought it was good. Another good soul moment. I liked him. Be careful making promises, sir. I watch HBO. You shouldn't ever do that. Like, it just reminds me of Game of Thrones as well, where it's like, don't make promises that you definitely are not going to be able to keep.
Yeah.
So yeah. The gopher was fine. Is that what we're calling him?
I don't
Basil?
know. Basil.
Whatever.
Basil.
Whatever he was. He was fine. He didn't.
Whoop-de-doo, Basil.
Yeah, whoop-de-doo, Basil. He's no Babu Frick. That's all I'm getting at.
I get you.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
no one can live up to the king.
He can't. We are just pawns.
1 minute review for me. Talk about whiplash from last week, at least in my view. You guys know I was at a 3 out of 10 last week. This week, I'm at like an 8 out of 10. Wild. And while I don't love that last week was a 3 out of 10, I think that it's nice that we can, stick to it, maybe. And I'm hoping the rest of them are 8 out of 10s. Heck, I hope we get a 10 out of 10. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I think literally everything improved this episode. Story structure, the visuals, the dialogue, the character development, the story. It all was so much better.
It's as if it's coming together.
It's not even so much. I mean, yeah, it is a lot of the stories coming together, but this was written by someone different.
Yeah.
And that person is also writing episode 5, which makes me excited.
Yeah.
But it's just, everything was better. Everything was better, I thought. And that's even excluding the last 5 minutes, which is awesome, right? That's what everybody's talking about, aside from Quixote Mundi. That's what everybody's talking about.
No one's talking about the last 5 minutes. You and I are going to be the only ones talking about the last 5 minutes.
But aside from the last 5 minutes, while we were watching, I was telling my wife, I was like, because this is mean, okay, this is mean, but this is what I said when we sat down to watch it, okay. I was joking, but I just to show you the juxtaposition, I was like, all right, it's garbage variety hour. Are you ready? And I was just playing.
Yeah.
And we got like halfway through and I was like, this is pretty good. Like, this is kind of awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
What a turnaround from last week, And then we got to the last 5 minutes and I was like, whoa, boy. Okay.
Let them cook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
hey, how are the pizza rolls in the last 5 minutes?
we might have upgraded to calzone level.
Oh, it's just a calzone now.
Yeah,
okay, gotcha. So you're saying that these were air fried?
Finely baked, I thought, nicely
gotcha.
rolled.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So they were still made in the oven. These aren't microwave pizza
We have a lot
rolls.
of new viewers, and they're going to be so confused about that comment. And we're just going to leave you confused.
Yeah.
Hey, let's get into those 5 takeaways, which are never 5. They're usually more than that, but hey, that's what we call it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really good stuff about this episode, like I said. And last week, because this show is all about balance, I feel like. Last week, we opened the show with a lot of critiques about the story structure and the writing. This week, I want to give a lot of praise to something that I thought was a really slick piece of writing in this episode. Kelnaka, the Wookiee Jedi. So we bookend the episode a little bit with the Wookiee Jedi. And I thought that this was a really smart way to bookend this episode. So we see him in the stinger on episode 2.
Yeah.
Right.
With the scaring the guys away.
Imagine they left it at that. And we don't get him in the beginning of this episode. And we only see him dead at the end.
Yeah.
Right. Then the question is like, well, when did he die? Though?
Yeah. How long has he been laying there?
Yeah, and so there's you don't get that fear of like, oh no. Now I know May says, oh no, he's here, and you see the char marks, and those help.
Yeah, well, I was going to say his wound was sizzling.
Yes, so that does help, but there's an added layer of intensity and imminent danger because we open the episode
knowing he's alive,
and that he's walking into his hut. By the way, dripping out with that cloak. I don't know, Wookiee Jedi in a cloak.
You're here for it?
I'm down with that. I actually like that better than the robe. Just the cloak.
Yeah,
I thought that was neat. But I thought that bookending it that way was a really nice piece of writing, but also it went a little more deeper because he's got the drawings, right?
Yeah, I know.
So it's keeping things focused on like it's pointing our minds toward May, Osha, what's going on with the witches, pointing us back, but also forward.
What I did like the drawings because again, it pulls you right back to, even though we're in the present, the past is still very important.
Yes.
Yeah. And some haven't forgotten the past.
Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah, so slick piece of writing there. And a couple little lore tidbits that I thought was fascinating. So we had a theory about the Mad Claw effect.
Yeah.
So that he would be a Mad Claw, which this is a thing taken from legends from the Old Republic days. And a quote from Zalbar from those games. Our claws are tools, not weapons. To use them in battles to become an animal. It is madness without honor. So we speculated, he scratches Torben.
Yeah.
And so he self-exiles. Well, we learned that that's not the case.
Yeah.
The Jedi stationed him on Kofar.
Way out there.
Now, maybe
But granted, it looks like his ship is wrecked, though, too, don't you think?
Yeah, it does look like that.
Yeah, it looks like that he exiled himself to a degree.
Because they haven't heard from him in a year.
Yep,
but my guess is, and I wonder if it's a little deeper than this, that like maybe he wanted to exile the Jedi. We're like, dude, it's not a big deal. We get it,
He's still haunted by these things.
And he's still haunted. And then maybe there was a point where he's haunted by these visions where he realizes that like maybe the Jedi are at fault here.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a theory on Reddit. I've seen a lot of people suggest that maybe Vernestra has something's going on with her.
Yeah. And
maybe there came a point where Kalnaka uncovered the plot basically. And so he was like, I'm done. And that's when he started drawing and all this stuff. A little fun fact about Wookiee culture, like where this thing about the Mad Claw came from that I thought was so fun when I was doing research about this. So this wasn't always part of like canon.
Yeah.
So this actually came from it was filling in a plot hole created by Heir to the Empire. So in Heir to the Empire, there's a large section on Kashyyyk. So like Leia goes to Kashyyyk to like hide from the Nogri.
Yeah.
And
that's when they call her Lady Vader, right? And all that.
I don't remember.
Sorry. Anyway.
I don't remember.
That might be in the next book. Maybe I should shut up.
Oh, wow. I've not gotten that far.
Sorry.
But anyway, so they climb. They climb on the trees and stuff, and they have retractable claws.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it created a plot hole. It's like, well, why didn't Chewbacca ever use his claws in the original trilogy?
Yeah.
So in there's this book, I got to read it, the Heir to the Empire source book, another source book. They added a little note that basically said that this was part of Wookiee culture, that they were only to be used for climbing, never for combat. So I just think that's fun that this was like a thing that I had to clear up, and now that's part of the story.
Yeah.
And so
look at something from Legends got pulled into canon.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Well, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe.
Because like now that we're not sure that that's Kalnaka's deal right now.
Yeah.
Right. But anyway, so I thought that was, that's all I really wanted to say about Kalnaka, because I really ragged on the writing last week. So I wanted to talk like that.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really slick way to book in the episode. And that way, when we get to that moment where Kalnaka is dead, you feel that sinking feeling in your gut, like, oh, before May even says it, you're like, no, he's
totally there.
He's here.
So do you think that he was able to uncover a plot, or do you think he's still haunted by the past? Why do you think he's drawing?
Yes.
Oh, both? You think he's uncovered some sort of crazy plot?
I think it's probably more he's haunted by the past.
Okay. I was just curious.
Yeah, I think he's more haunted by the past. I don't know that he's uncovered really the plot, because I think that hinges on if the Jedi are involved in the plot.
Yeah.
And I think that's a reach, at least right now. I think the Jedi are more complacent. I don't think they're explicitly involved in anything right now.
Yeah.
At least that's my thought.
Okay. I was just curious.
What do you think?
I don't know. I kind of think that, if you're out exiling yourself and everything, that I could see you, being crazy and drawn on the walls. It reminded me a lot of like the meme from Always Sunny in Philadelphia with Charlie and all the, looking at the wall and smoking a cigarette. But granted, I could also see where he's just haunted by that whole situation and what happened that night. And because he's drawing the symbol that was on the mother on her forehead. And I assume the same one that's on May. Yes, on her forehead too. But we haven't seen it. That's the other thing too. So we haven't seen it when she's an adult, right?
We have We
have?
saw it in one of the first two because Soul identifies it.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I think, there's definitely, I mean, we know this, there's more to the story.
Mhm.
We're going to be uncovering more and more as time goes on.
Yeah.
I still think that the delivery of information has not been great up until this point. I think we're in a groove, and I hope we stay in the groove.
Yeah.
It just took a while to get here. I'm like, okay, we're halfway into it. Like I wish that,
This was started like episode 2.
yeah. So like to be cynical for a brief moment, I think that likely what happened is I think that the showrunners had great ideas for moments, like excellent ideas for like these bits and pieces, but it was stringing them together and telling that kind of flow.
Well, it's how you get to those moments.
Yeah.
It's about the journey.
It's tough to do with a mystery, and especially if you're doing this like Rashomon idea where it's like telling it from this this perspective, and this perspective, and this perspective.
Yeah.
It's not easy, know? So, I mean, not that I could do it better.
No.
Hey, so we talked about it a little bit. The Jedi Council. We got to see, or a lower council, some sort of council of Jedi.
Yeah, exactly. Look, this almost seems like a fan club on the side of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Because they say explicitly High Council, and I'm like, oh, there you go. You just wrote Yoda out of it then. Like that there is a, or, Oppo Rancis, or Yariel Poof. I assume that all of them are on a higher council.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not to pat ourselves on the back, but a little on the old speculation game.
Yeah.
We talked about this would be a cover up. I mean, they're being explicit about it.
Oh, no. Yeah. That she's, what is her name? I'm sorry. Vernestra is like totally in, like, I could just see her holding the proverbial broom and just like, yes, that's what's going to happen with all this.
Oh, 100%.
Yes. No one's going to know. Of course, there hasn't been a Sith in over 1,000 years because no one knows about it. The archive's going to be empty. So
here's some quotes just to ponder here. So could this be a splinter order or something worse? She turned up all these years later, trained by one of our own. You think a Jedi trained her? Even a hologram could tell me that. Vernestra's so arrogant, first of all.
Yeah. Well, she's like the what we learn about in 100 years with Phantom Menace. Like, doesn't she seem like the Jedi? Like, oh yeah, Mace Windu. Yeah. I can see Mace Windu delivering those lines.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And then Kiadi right away says, or Kiadi. We got some criticism that we were pronouncing this wrong. Kiadi. He says,
Kiadi
Mundi. Kiadi Mundi. Kiadi.
Okay, well,
I'm going to just keep calling him Kiadi. Yeah. Whatever.
No, it's fine. I want to, just curious. So that's the hill they decide to die on.
I'm telling you, man, it's been all day.
Yeah.
That's all the comments I've been getting.
Yeah.
So Kiadi Mundi said, we must alert the High Council. Vernestra, the High Council would be obliged to inform the Senate. A scandal like this would inspire fear or mistrust. We should handle this ourselves. I mean, it's so clear that like this is where the rot really starts to seep
festering.
Yeah. But also, go ahead.
I hate the idea that if my friend was in danger, well, we have to have a meeting first to make sure that we can go tell our friend that he's in danger. Doesn't that like the politics behind it? Yeah, the politics and like the red tape is insane to me that we've gotten this bad where it's like, dude, you know that someone's going to go murder your friend. And oh no, we gotta have a meeting about it and then figure out who exactly is going to go save your friend.
Yeah, but we can't, like the Senate can't find out because then, man, we're going to look bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, hang on, like let's figure out how we're going to navigate
do this. And then, yeah, exactly. Oh, well, I don't know if it's a good idea for you to go. That like, really? If anybody, it's one of your own. It's weird. It's really, really strange how far, like, again, I want to see the Jedi being heroes. This is not hero stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The only thing I want to give credit for with the Jedi here is that why would they think this is a Sith? So I've seen a lot of critique of about Master Mundi. So in my little rant at the beginning, I didn't really mention the other half to the criticism, which is he's the one who delivers the line.
The Sith haven't been seen in over a millennia.
So the question is like, well, if he was here, then he clearly knows about this. Why is he saying it twice? It's like, well, first of all, maybe they're doing something with that. Like, let's wait and see.
Yeah. Because that seems like a really cheeky thing to do, to have that come back later. Because I mean, did you see him? He was like a high school girl and peering over a locker, watching them talk about it. Yeah,
and he's very I don't think that that's what this is about. Yeah, you know. And why would any of them think it's a Sith at this point? I mean, the Sith have been extinct.
Yeah,
why would they have why would they think that'd be so weird? That'd be like today, okay? Like say we had an assassination attempt on a high-ranking official of our government.
Yeah.
And someone came out here, a Qui-Gon Jinn type, like General Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah.
Came out and was like, guys, this guy from the Roman Empire just came out and tried to assassinate our president.
Attila the Hun.
And they were like, dude, the Roman Empire has been gone for like 2,000 years.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm telling you, it's him. Now, maybe in this wild situation, Qui-Gon happens to be right.
Yeah.
Okay. But
somehow,
I think you could give some credit to like Ki-Adi-Mundi and the rest of the council here for not immediately going Sith.
Yeah.
They wiped them out 1,000 years ago. There's no reason to think that this is them.
Yeah.
And also there's a clear motive for revenge. It's not like this is just a random attack. Like if it was a random attack on a faction, right, then maybe you can start asking some more questions about this as a Sith, because then you have to look at like historically who's the Jedi's enemies.
Yeah.
But it's not. This is a person who these 4 specific Jedi wronged her in her past.
Yeah.
Why would you think that she is suddenly your ancient enemy?
Yeah.
There's no reason to believe that. And that's why it's not been brought up so far. Like I'm levying this critique, but it's not really a critique because the show has not done that, rightfully so. Yeah. This is for some reason a critique that's been levied by other people toward the show. And it's like, I don't get it. So Ki-Adi being here doesn't make a difference toward that notion. Now we could get further in, and if Ki-Adi starts seeing a guy swinging a red lightsaber,
that'd be different. There's a whole point. He didn't go on that mission.
He didn't go on to Kofar.
No.
If he sees that, maybe we could start being like, hey. Yeah. Because I do think like, just to peek behind the curtain there, we do have to, I think, ask the question, why Ki-Adi-Mundi? Like out of all the legacy characters you could have brought into this moment, why not Plo Koon, right? So why not? So why Ki-Adi? And he is the character who says that line in The Phantom Menace.
There has to be a reason why.
So are they just out there poking the beehive of the fandom? Be real, guys. They're not doing that. Why would they do that? Like from a pure business perspective, why would they do that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I'm with you. I mean, I'm giving the writers a little bit more credit that like, I'm sure that this is going to pay off somehow.
I think at worst,
this is going to be like how Han got his lucky dice.
Yeah.
This is going to be kind of like that. That's what I'm assuming. This is how, this is how Black Widow got her vest that she wears. Yeah.
I was going to say, is like at worst, this is just one of those silly things that like didn't need backfilling, but they did.
Yeah.
I was going to compare it to like L3 and Solo being like the Falcon's Navi computer.
Yeah.
That's like a throwaway thing in the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
About C-3PO saying that like, the Falcons.
Weird dialect. Yeah.
And so throwaway line, didn't need backfilling, but we get this like little backstory about it in Solo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So maybe is Ki-Adi then being a little facetious into The Phantom Menace? Is he being like, the Sith haven't been, is he being like, hey, what do you mean? The Sith haven't been seen for a while. I don't know what you're talking about, man. Mm-hmm. Like, oh man, I hope they don't remember that thing that happened 100 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
And that doesn't ruin anything. That if anything, that adds just that little nugget, that when you watch that again, you can be like, oh, I bet he's got that going through his mind.
Yeah, now he's like, he's feeling all that guilt.
And that's even if he knows more about this mission as it goes on, because maybe none of these guys come back from this mission.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing, guys. We don't know how this ends, right? Like we don't know if anybody comes back. We don't know if anybody reports, if Ki-Adi gets any more information about this. Maybe he doesn't.
No, he may be sent to the other side of the galaxy to go deal with something else with the Wookiees.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then that's also the other irony here is like it has to do with an attack on a Wookiee. And guys, maybe that's as far as that decision went. It's like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if because he's so concerned about like, because that's the meme.
That is the meme.
Like, hey, the droid attack on the Wookiees. Hey, what if we got that guy, put him in this council scene about an attack on a Wookiee? That's hilarious. Do it. Yeah, I don't know.
That might be it.
And if I think at worst, that's what this is. It's just a pointless cameo.
Yeah.
But it's not it's not at worst like a poke in the beehive, like let's change canon, guys.
Yeah.
And they ride off on their broomstick.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know what goes through some people's minds sometimes. It's like, what do you think they're doing over there? Like they got like their cauldron and they're like, what are we changing next, fellas?
Yeah.
Just, dang it, I made myself choke. Got me all worked up today. I'm sorry.
Dude, you are. My goodness.
Yeah, my bad. I didn't mean to get so fired up. But my comment section today has been just all about, well, what about Kiani Mundi? And I'm like, I don't know, guys. So, the journey to Kofar.
Yeah.
A lot of cool stuff here. I liked the scene in the ship. Like, the cut was really fun where we have Sol and May, Sol and Osha talking at like the entrance to the Jedi Temple.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I'm not wearing one of those civilian robes.
Yeah.
Wearing a civilian robe.
You know what that reminded me of? Reminded me of the variant jacket from Loki.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a little bit.
Pretty much the exact same joke. Yeah.
Thought it was fun.
Yes.
Fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
really liked how that ship looked, how it detached and it flew down there. Yeah. That I was like, okay, all right. This is feels like the hyperspace rings with their Jedi starfighters. And I'm like, okay, that's similar technology. I will say that the bad guy ship landing looked like butt, in my opinion, because I didn't feel like the grass moved. It just didn't look. It looked very stagnant compared to the other one.
That's crazy. I thought that ship looked awesome.
No, I think it looked cool. I thought that it just wasn't up to snuff with the rest of the other things that we saw.
I didn't notice that, but
looked like Palpatine at the end of Kenobi.
Oh my gosh, get off of this.
Looked like butt.
We're just negative Nancy's today. This is a good episode. What are we doing?
I'm never gonna let you live that down.
Oh my gosh,
he looks horrible. Got it.
Shut up. Okay, we're talking. Okay, Yord sucks. This too,
dude. Hey, did you even see it anymore? I know I brought this up. Doesn't he look like Hayden Christensen? Like from here, like his eyes and his forehead, like how he holds his face and stuff like that. I think he looks just like Hayden Christensen. Not his mouth, but like here up.
I don't know.
The different looks he gives and stuff like that. That I'm like, man, he looks like. I mean, I feel like that's part of the reason why they cast him is that he just looks like the prequels. I know that's weird to say.
I don't know. I guess I
pay attention to it next time. Just how he holds his face. Like there's
attention to him. Yord Horde, more like Yord Board. Can't stand this guy.
Put a shirt on.
Calling Osha a citizen.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, Mace Windu 2.0. Really, come on.
Yeah, no, I
get
you.
On the nose right here.
No, I got you. He's totally dead, don't you think?
Oh, I hope so.
Don't you think, though? Because she even, like, there was two different things that Sol was all like, I'll tell you later. And then, like, she even tells Yord, hey, this goes bad. You got to do something about it. That's not good. Yeah. I don't know if either of them are going to make it out. Granted, there is a bunch of scrubs that we don't know their names that are in that group.
Bunch of red shirts.
Yes,
is that what they're called?
Yes,
right?
Yes, that is right. Bunch of no names.
Yeah, there were a couple shots where I'm like, who's this guy?
Exactly.
He's dead.
Oh yeah, definitely. The Sith needs to rack up some KOs. Or I'm sorry, the Master. We should probably just call him that.
The Master,
because that's what he was referred to. Yeah.
Well, okay, I'm just going to call him by his real name, Chimere.
You think that's him?
Brother.
What? I'm just saying. No, I'm with you ever since you said it in the first our first episode that I was on board with you.
Yeah.
And I think so too. But like we even were comparing forearms.
In our group chat, we're like, okay, the thickness.
Yeah, that's seems about right because when he's wearing the mask, he's not wearing his arms are exposed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I thought this was their best outing for sure.
Yeah.
Like May and Chimere. Chimere especially.
Yes.
So about those two, like if Chimere and the Master.
Yeah.
It is so painfully obvious, at least in this episode, that they're the same person. And so I've heard a lot of people say, is like, is it too obvious? Like, is this a red herring?
Yeah.
My thing, I think that the mystery is Chimere the Master. I think that the red herring is, someone's above Chimere.
Yeah. Although this would be a really powerful apprentice just to be like pushing a bunch of Jedi backwards.
I mean, Count Dooku was powerful.
Count Dooku did humble both Obi-Wan and Anakin at the same time.
Darth Maul was powerful.
Debatable, but yes.
I think Darth Maul could handle that group of Jedi.
You think so?
Yeah.
He could take Sol?
Yeah.
Okay.
Saul and Qui-Gon are the same character.
I know. He did it one at a time, though. That's the whole thing. Is that like, I think that things would have been different. Like he backpedaled till he got them by themselves.
I don't know if like Phantom Menace Maul could do it, but like you're talking Clone Wars Maul? Maybe.
I don't know. He's he's half a man at that point.
He's still strong.
He is strong, but I think that he's more cunning than he is a fighter.
Maybe.
That's all I'm getting at.
Yeah. I mean, and then also we're forgetting the apprentice, Vader.
It is true.
Vader could take on that whole group.
Vader could probably fight that whole group at the same time.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah.
I think, yeah. So Chimere, Toothy Sith guy.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the same. They're one and the same.
Yeah.
For sure. But I thought that we get a lot of really fun hints.
Mm-hmm.
So Palpatine is like the political mastermind, right? That's his face. That's his mask.
Yeah.
And he gets to have intelligent conversations with Yoda and Mace Windu, and he gets to play that cunning politician where he's smart and he's charming and all of this stuff. Chimere is an oaf.
Plays the fool.
He plays the fool.
Yeah.
Both are great at developing friendships and getting information out of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is so fun. This different type of archetype.
Yeah.
Because they're both very useful from a Sith perspective as a mask to wear.
And it also reminds me of like Yoda played the fool when we first met him in Empire Strikes Back. Who else is a famous fool? Jar Jar Binks.
Oh.
And a lot of people do like to, Jar Jar is the key.
Yeah.
I think Jar Jar was meant to be more than what he turned out
George
being.
dialed him back a little bit.
Yes, and I think that George did dial him back. But I mean, I think that this goes with the Star Wars DNA, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
I think that this is part of that a more than meets the eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that it's a little bit it's different, but it's the same.
Mm-hmm.
It feels very Palpatine, but it's just a different angle. He's attacking it from a different side.
Yeah.
Like I could see this guy being from that Bane line, like we've been saying.
Yeah.
And to really, like, let's really say this is Tooth Guy. He is a Sith Lord. This is from the Bane line. I really like the idea that this is venomous.
Yeah.
Like if they were going,
if they were going to change a character.
Yeah. Like if I know he's a Bith in the book.
Yeah.
But I mean, venomous, he makes the poison.
Yeah.
And imagine that setup, right? Like maybe Tenebris is still alive by this time. Maybe he's not.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's a power vacuum right now. Maybe Plagueis is out there.
And people are fighting. Yeah. Or the apprentices are battling, basically.
And Venomous needs an acolyte to take on Plagueis.
Yeah.
Maybe because that would be a fun way to take this book and weave it into canon in its own way, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's kind of what they're doing with the Heir to the Empire stuff. They're taking the bones.
Yeah.
And they're kind of building off of it.
The soul is still there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all the details may not be there. But yeah.
I think that's fun. I think that's a fun idea to take a character like Venomous.
Yeah.
And
what he did is in the book, he attacked Plagueis, and then Plagueis used him for spare parts, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So briefly, just to catch the viewers up, if you've not read Darth Plagueis, there's Darth Plagueis, Sidious's master, right? Who we all know the story, the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Yeah.
We won't go into it here because it's not a story the Jedi would tell you.
Mm-hmm.
His master, Darth Tenebris, was a Bith.
Yeah, the Cantina band people.
Yeah. Figure and Dan and the Modal Nodes.
Mm-hmm.
The Jizz Band.
Yes.
And the Mos Eisley Cantina.
Yes.
Same species. He was really into Bith science.
Yes.
And he was Plagueis' master. Well, when Plagueis kills Tenebris, lo and behold, Tenebris didn't really believe all that much in Plagueis and had a secret apprentice named Venomous, another Bith.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was a bit of he wanted to keep things within his race.
And contingency plans as well. Yeah.
And so Plagueis and Venomous kind of square off. And at first Venomous is like, okay, I'll swear allegiance to you. But Plagueis is like, nah. And he's going to use him as an experiment, basically. Yeah, spare parts, as you said.
Spare parts.
So to kind of catch you up on the lore. I just like the idea of... he was and maybe Tenebris is still around at this time.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're really switching everything around. I don't know. But I like the idea that if we were going to take parts of Plagueis and start working them back into canon, and if Chimere is the Sith, I like him being Darth Venomous. I think it fits. The first thing we see him do is craft a poison.
Yeah. No, I think it fits. And I like, he's really not in the book that much. So you changing his species, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that realistically, it would be...
The parts still make a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But having a Bith as like a main character is a little more difficult, in my opinion. Like, you can do it. It's just, but you lose performance, especially in someone like a Bith. Like, there's like no face there.
Yep.
So I wouldn't hate that, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So anyway, a couple things that he says here that I think are really interesting. So he does a little Freudian slip when he talks to May, which I think is really fun. So May says, "What kind of deal did you make with him?" Talking about the master. Chimere, "I didn't. We didn't. I just owe him." That little slip of the tongue. And it also goes to show that this guy's probably the apprentice. He's not perfected this yet.
Yeah.
He then deflects immediately because May says, "I've never seen his face. Have you?" You know I haven't. "Oh, look, the perimeter.
We've reached it."
Yeah, just immediately deflects it. Because again, I don't think he's really cracked that code quite yet to where he can lie directly to her face all the time.
He's not the master manipulator.
He can move around it. He could skirt around the edges, but on head-to-head combat.
Yeah,
I think it'd be a little more difficult for him. So that was the first thing. And then a very Palpatine thing. He stokes the fire. So May says, "I can't believe my sister is Jedi scum. What was she like when you spoke to her? I like this prodding by her. You're starting to see her wheels turn for her face turn later, which we'll discuss."
Yeah.
And Chimere says, "She seemed in over her head, honestly, but then immediately pivots. She seemed really fond of that one Jedi Master. What was his name again? Soul? Anyways, let's get going."
Yeah.
It's such a twist. It's a twist of the knife,
it's really
there.
weird. And then it pulls back to their origin story that we now know.
Right, because we just saw that.
We just saw that.
So this is where the structure is working for me.
Yeah.
Really well. Because it's like, hey, now we know that Soul's got some skeletons.
Yeah.
And he may die.
I'm not convinced that we talked about it last episode. I think that he let her go.
Yeah.
And think
maybe May watched that
the
entire time. And so Chimere telling her that, just twisting it, digging it in, because he knows like Soul is one of her targets.
Yeah.
Just terrific stuff. And also just laying that groundwork, sowing those seeds. And then, okay, this is whack, but I caught this and I'm just going to throw it out there. So during one of their final scenes together, they're running and she's like, I got to rest, and he's like, "Come on, let's go." He seems legitimately
frightened,
frazzled.
Yeah.
Like, we got to get going.
Yeah. We have to do this now.
So I have two thoughts.
Okay.
One is way more likely. The other one is completely bogus.
Yeah.
But I have to say it. The first, more likely. I wonder if he wants to avoid confrontation with the Jedi. He knows that the Jedi are there. He wants May to hurry up, get the job done so they can leave.
Get in and get out,
And so he's like, I really don't want to take on like 10 Jedi. I don't even know that I can do that right now.
Well, it may be also too that it may not be his time to reveal himself to the Jedi.
Yes.
It may not be time for their revenge. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think you're correct. I think you're right. Here's my wild theory.
Okay.
This episode is called Day. It's all been about sunset.
Oh,
and
yeah,
we have 3
yeah.
hours.
Yeah.
Sith vampire. Excuse me. Sorry. Sith werewolf.
Sith werewolf. Okay.
It's
all
like,
right. Roll with me.
He can't
go crazy except at night.
It's like the darkness comes and it's like Chimere. It's like the monster within, it bursts forth. So it's like, he's got a dual personality.
Interesting.
So like, it's Chimere, the lovable fool.
Yeah.
We're going to hang out. It's discount Ezra Miller during the day.
Yeah.
But during the nighttime, oh brother, it's Smilo Ren. He's coming after you. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Smile X. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about
Zipper
that.
Face is coming to get you.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Because inside you are 2 wolves. Seth.
There are 2 wolves. Careful wearing that vest saying that. Yeah.
It's such no.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
What a miscalculation it was, by the way.
What?
Going off on my like whole rant about yellow lightsabers while wearing this fedora and then posting a reel. It's an Indiana Jones hat, guys. got a comment about that. And I'm like, you know what? I can't even be mad. This was my fault. I shouldn't.
Yeah. Walked into that yourself.
So I know it's whack. It's
yeah.
just totally like, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting that he's so frazzled.
Yeah.
You know,
I do think that it's interesting because he says to her that he cares about her.
Mhm.
And so it's like, do you care about her because like she's your meal ticket, for lack of a better term? Or do you care about her because like you had some doing in her creation? Like, is this like a teacher?
Yeah.
Is this like a master student kind of thing? Or is this like, like a father figure, which is odd to think about, but he is much older than her. So he doesn't look it.
Yeah. The actor is 38.
Yeah. The actor is
So
38.
he would line up. He'd be, how old would he be? He'd be 22.
Yeah.
About the time when the whole thing went down on Brendock.
Yeah.
So upstart Sith going around his master to create
life or helping with that. Yeah. Or he was just, maybe he helped his master create the life, that it took more than one Sith to do this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It could have been like like kind of that scene in Clone Wars where you got Count Dooku and Palpatine with like the Sith alchemy.
Or I was, again, keep going back to it, Bane with a thought bomb. One Sith can't do that. Like several Sith have to conjure the thought bomb. So yeah.
I think that's a really interesting idea.
Yeah.
It's like why, because he does legitimately seem like he is worried about her.
Yeah. It's concerned for her safety.
For a moment anyway.
Yeah.
Because there is a huge tonal shift in his voice.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost like a Palpatine.
Yeah.
When he turns his voice into like the henceforth,
Yeah.
you shall be known. It's not quite that dramatic, but he does have a moment.
Vader. Yeah.
Where he's like, oh my gosh, man, cut me down. What are we doing? Like, I can't believe you did this. And then she's like, he'll kill you.
Yeah.
Boom. Both sides of that coin, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think that it's so, I mean, it's him, you know, it's him. And like, how awkward would it have been if May would have been like, just peeked inside his bag. Like, what do you got this helmet? Like, hey, I just keep it for the master.
Yeah.
You know, you never know.
I don't hate the idea too that have you seen Scream?
No, I'm not really into horror.
It's
but
okay.
I know the concept.
Yeah, that like, so in the first Scream, and I think actually probably some of the, I've seen several of them, but yeah, in the first Scream, there isn't just one killer. That it's Billy Loomis and Stu, and they're trading off wearing the mask. And I'm kind of curious if this is kind of that situation where more than one person wears the mask. That this is just an alias that they use. Yeah. Other thing, which we haven't. I heard this for the first time today. I watched Screen Crush talk about the episode, and they brought up that it looks like a xenomorph from Alien.
It does kind of a little bit.
Yeah, and I was surprised that I hadn't thought of that, and I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. That, but yeah, I want to give credit where credit's due. That they were like, oh no, they think it's an homage to the greatest sci-fi horror of all time. That it's supposed to look like a xenomorph. Yeah, with the smooth head and then the teeth.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I like the idea that multiple people could wear it because I think we do have to ask the question, why does this character wear the mask? Is it just a real cool thing?
Yeah.
And hey, that could just be it. Sure. I mean, I'm down with that. But it has to be a reveal.
Yeah.
It has to be someone we know within the show. Okay, it's Chimere. Okay, that is a reveal.
Yeah.
Like we get to know, and that's also a reveal for the character too. It can't just be a reveal for the audience.
Yeah.
But even more of a reveal could be that it's multiple people.
Yeah. And I like the idea of that, where it's like, you know, it kind of goes back to the witch's chant or whatever, that they are many and that you just don't know how many people could be under the mask.
So maybe we see Chimere, but then immediately we see the mask again.
Yeah. And that either that or we see somebody, you know, somebody else put on the mask and we don't actually see their face. So yeah, Master shows up, say Chimere gets killed. Master then shows up and then puts on the mask. So
yeah, it could be.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a great thought. I think that maybe a lot of these theories about who it is could be the case. That also could be why it's so obvious that Chimere is this guy.
Yeah.
Is that he's just one. Mm-hmm. He's just, the power of two, the power of many. Yep. You know, could be that very much so. And then also when he comes in at the very end, first of all, what a slick entrance, man.
It's pretty creepy. And oh my gosh, the music too at this point was very John Williams-y. I felt
and
like
the lack thereof when he actually came in.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Good stuff. Well, I mean, they're playing on that violin.
Were they? Like, was there a little bit of something?
Yeah. It was good. Yeah. Good. It's creepy. But yes, should we address that? That's been a lot of controversy today too.
What?
Well, how he came in, his dramatic entrance.
Oh, his float.
His float.
Mary Poppins?
Yes, he floated. Mary Poppins, y'all. And,
no, it's cool, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Why not? He's a Force user.
I was about to say, I mean, like, come on. You mean to tell me that Palpatine didn't slow himself down when he's fighting Yoda in the Senate room?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Think about how hard that'd be on your knees.
100%. And then also, we've seen multiple times in this show and in other media, Jedi can just float.
It's true. I was going to say, don't Battlefront 2, Palpatine can fly. Everybody else, like, they jump. Like, Palpatine kind of, like, floats. Count Dooku floats down in The Clone Wars. Or, I'm sorry.
Clone Wars, yes.
Count Dooku floats down in Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes, to
silly
meet
controversy.
Yeah.
No need for it. Just people I think there's like an NPC factory, and it's like, hey, they like give out little tickets every day.
Yeah. Well, what about
every
this?
Week.
I'm mad about that, but gosh, that grinds my gears.
Here's the thing to be mad about this week, guys.
Yeah.
Like, read all about it. It's like, oh, well, thank you. We'll see you next week.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, nothing to be mad about there.
Either way, I thought it was cool too.
Great.
Out of focus, falls into frame. Yeah.
And then
I think even
walk up.
I think that he was even floating before he actually was like walking up.
Oh yeah, it almost looked like almost like a hoverboard thing.
Yes,
it's like he's not
exactly.
actually making
Very
contact.
Hate to use this reference, but in Twilight, when the evil vampires first show up for the first time, they used one of those moving sidewalks, and that's what. Yeah, that again, really eerie practical effect. It looks awesome. Yeah, but that's what it reminded me of.
He also, he looks half dressed.
Yeah, like he just put on the outfit. Again, we were noticing the forearms.
Right?
Yes, yeah.
I need to go back and look at that episode where they're on the beach and see if he's got some gauntlets. Because I'm not sure if he does or not.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But looks slick. That like snap where he looks toward the Jedi. Also like that just at first it's very slow. That slow cut to a Jackie.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What a mean cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was just.
No, I agree.
It was just inconsiderate. Honestly.
I agree wholeheartedly.
And they even said the writer, she made a post. You can find it on Reddit, or it was on Twitter, but they posted. There was a post about the post on Reddit. Jeez, where she said that this was written as one episode 4 and 5, and they kind of had to cut it.
They had to cut it somewhere. Yeah,
and she said for reasons that you'll find out next week. So we'll find out next week why they had to do that.
It's kind of wild because I'm like, now I'm really invested. And I'm like, wonder how they're going to get out of this. But again, they got a bunch of cannon fodder with them. So,
well, it makes me excited that we are continuing this next week.
Yeah, that they're not going to go back to a flashback.
I was worried that next week we were going right into a flashback.
Yeah.
I hope that's not happening. I hope we're getting right into the action.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is true because we don't know anything. Nobody knows anything at this point. Because screeners were sent out for 1, 2, 3, and 4. Nobody knows anything past that. Mm-hmm. I heard that next episode is just going to be a 40-minute fight. And if that's the case, I'm like, you have my attention.
That really? Well, they did talk about that, like, Duel of Fates.
Yeah,
and everything
they want to match that.
Yeah.
We'll match that energy. Hey, I'm down. Like, come at me.
Yeah, I was going to say, show me what you got. I want to see it.
Yeah.
So, heck yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. But we should talk about, like, the build-up before. I do want to mention that with the whole, like, the sun setting and everything.
Oh, it's great.
Because,
you know what that reminded me of?
Ben Solo.
Sure did.
Yeah, it did.
Sure did.
Oh my gosh. Yes. My mind went right there and I was like, hey, I really like that scene in Force Awakens. I'm happy you decided to emulate this here. And then again with the, I don't know, the metaphor of the sun setting and then the Sith werewolf, as you said, that showing up, like, good stuff.
It's
just
really good.
Really, really good stuff.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, it was like a complete 180 for the writing, in my opinion. It was like we went from last week, which I thought was
it's pretty rough.
One of the worst live action Star Wars episodes to this one. I wouldn't say one of the best. It was very good, but there's also been some other very good live action Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Just really good writing.
I'm wondering about, what do you think the significance of the moths are? Do you think they're going to show back up again? The Umber moths?
I don't know. I thought
it was weird that we just stopped and we did that to show. And then we do know now that they're attracted to lightsabers now that it's nighttime. And so I'm wondering if they're going to break up the fight with the Sith and everything.
Oh, that could be.
Yeah.
I liked the moment that we get with Osha where she's like, I disturbed it and now it's dead.
Yeah.
Just another kind of, we're getting a lot of this with Osha where she's turning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's as far as as far as I think it's going to go, but that's a good thought that they're going to come in. I can see that.
Yeah, and I feel like that there's a reason why they're there.
Yeah, they did linger on it a little long for it just to be a small moment with Osha, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, speaking of those two, that's kind of the last note here, May and Osha.
Yeah.
So Osha first. Really interesting where we're going with this character. So in the beginning of the episode, she is really indifferent about May.
And she was ready to peace out.
Yeah.
She was like, I'm just going to go. Yeah.
I do think it's interesting that she decided she didn't really put up a fight to go with Soul. She was just like, I'll go.
Yeah.
And then
it was weird too that she was like, am I a Jedi now? That like, oh, you want me to be a Jedi? Like ready to say no. And it's like, no, I don't want you to be a Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she had a lot of, and then asking Yord to like, hey, kill her, man.
If you have to.
You got to do it. Yeah. Take her out.
He's a dead man.
Yord, yeah. But isn't that interesting? Can you imagine? It's like, it reminded me a lot of the conversation with like Yoda and Obi-Wan in Revenge of the Sith, where like, send me to kill the Emperor.
Yeah. I can't duel my brother.
I can't kill Anakin. He's my brother. You know? But May, no, she's like, bro, she got to go.
Yeah. Do what you got to do.
Do what you got to do, man.
Yeah.
And I think that informs on another piece of speculation we had that May and Osha, they're swapping.
Yeah.
Swapping places.
Yeah. I was going to say that the scale is tipping, that like one or I guess the proverbial like yin yang is switching. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I mean, that really is it, right? Like it is the yin and yang symbol where you have on one side, you have Osha, the white, but there's that bit of darkness within her.
Yeah.
And then May, she has the opposite reaction to seeing Osha. So Osha sees May and is like, she's got to go. I have had so much hatred towards her. And now I know that she's alive. I don't even want to see her. But you know what? If I got to see her, take her out.
Yeah.
Get her out of the game. May, on the other hand,
she's willing to completely.
She's the darkness.
She's ready to turn on the Sith.
Yeah.
To go hang out with her sister.
Yeah. She's completely opposite. Kind of interesting. I kind of like that. And I think that they're going to it's going to be that.
Trade spots.
That meme, where they're. It's that stupid meme where like the two cars drive by and they're like,
no, they're staring at each other. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's what we're going to see.
Well, you even speculated that like it'd be interesting if the, point of view character started out as one and then flipped to the other twin, in which it very well might for the back half of the show.
Yeah. Yeah. It's ridiculous though if that's the case.
Yeah.
So if the first half was Osha and now it's going to be May, it's still going to be from the light side character the whole time.
Which is weird because like we're just not getting a show about the Sith. I've accepted that now.
Yeah. Well, maybe if we keep following Osha.
And then we learn how like it's a fall. It's like a Breaking Bad, like a fall to the dark side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, oh boy, we've not seen that before. Like I said, we kind of talk about yin yang. This show's kind of a yin yang.
Yeah.
But one thing I did find incredibly interesting with Osha, this conversation she had with Soul just before they get to Kelnaka, where Kelnaka Soul starts to really sense something. You can tell he's starting to feel very worried.
Oh yeah.
And Osha's like, hey, what's going on here? Like, is it May? What's going on? He's like, I'll explain everything on the ship, because like we'd been speculating, Soul's got skeletons.
Oh yeah.
He did something on that night. He knew something happened. Something happened with May, and he knew about it the entire time.
Yeah.
Maybe it was even his fault.
It is.
And he's going to let her know.
Yep.
Here's what I think. We're about to get a twist on something. So you mentioned a minute ago about Kymir almost having that like father thing with May.
Yeah.
What if we got a bit of a flip on the I am your father moment from Empire, except for the point is not the I am your father. It's the line before it. Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father. He told me enough. He told me you killed him.
Yeah.
What's the point of that message, right? Vader's telling the truth.
Yeah.
He's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And Luke is learning that a trusted confidant, a mentor, lied to him.
Yeah.
About a loved one.
Well, he told him the truth from a certain point of view.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that we're about to see the exact same scenario play out, where Kymir, Toothy Sith guy, is about to come to Osha. So never told you what happened to your sister. He told me enough. He told me she fell in a fire.
Yeah. No.
soul killed your
Yeah,
sister.
exactly.
You know, like,
Soul let her fall into the fire. Yeah.
And then
and I
maybe-
saved her. Yeah.
and then also, psych, I kind of helped make you. So in a way, I'm your dad too, homie. So
Yeah,
it kind of all
exactly.
connects,
Yeah.
you know? And maybe this time Luke doesn't let go and fall down, you know, and let fate decide what happens to him.
Mhm.
Instead, maybe this time Osha does join me.
Yeah.
And together, you know,
Yeah.
maybe she does join up with the
Yeah.
Sith guy.
And it's really interesting with like, you know, that May is willing to leave everything just because her sister's alive now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That bond is so powerful.
And that's going to hurt her even more seeing that switch.
Yeah.
So I think we're leading up to kind of a really interesting emotional finale here.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the kind of rhyming I like right here. This
Yeah.
is what I'm down with.
Yeah.
If that's, again, I know that's speculation, but I mean, they're laying the chess pieces in places I really dig this episode. I like where everybody's at.
Mm-hmm.
I like how we're positioning ourselves for the story and in reference to Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I'm down with that. So May is kind of our last point here. We talked about her turn a little bit.
Yeah.
The last thing is like, what is up with her relationship with the Master?
I mean, what a debt is owed, right?
What is that about?
I don't
What
know.
debt?
I don't know.
What is this agreement that she made? Why did she have to make an agreement with him?
Maybe it was, you know, be my apprentice and I'll help you get your vengeance. I'll help you get your sister back.
But she didn't know Osha
Did
was
she
alive.
not know that Osha was alive? I'm sorry. I thought that Osha didn't know that.
No, May didn't know Osha was alive.
Okay, well, then my bad.
So
Maybe, then I'll help you get your vengeance.
So revenge. So you
yeah.
be my apprentice and you get revenge. Okay,
Yeah.
that's one angle.
Yeah.
Is it okay? Or
why? What do you got?
I don't know. I had no idea. I was thinking maybe he saved her from the fire.
He could have.
But we see
Saved
her.
her
We
from
see her at the tree, though.
It's true. Well, maybe he saved her at the tree.
Maybe he's not at the tree like we thought last week. Maybe instead of her going to the tree and seeing her, maybe he's right next to her. He led her to the tree.
Yeah.
Where's your sister, May? Let's take you over here to this poisonous tree.
Yeah.
This venomous tree.
Yeah.
She's not here.
But I can be here for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the agreement.
Yeah.
Like, hey, be my apprentice, and I'll rescue you from this.
Yeah.
But we get, I think the most interesting thing here is we get a lot more about this to kill a Jedi without a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I cracked the code on this.
Okay.
I'm going to read the transcript here. So Kymir kind of pokes.
Well, he's literally
a little
poking with a stick.
Literally,
when he says this. Yeah,
literally
yeah.
poking with a stick. He's like, "Hey, man, can you are you allowed to take the lightsaber, you know, and disarm him and use that? That's kind of cheating, right?
Yeah.
Hey, don't do that. You can't. You're not allowed.
Exactly.
Because that's kind of what we speculated. Is that how you had to do it?
We totally thought that, you know, this is like a situation where you take the lightsaber and then you have to bleed the lightsaber.
Yeah.
And that, like, you know, that's how you're going to get your crimson blade, basically. Kind of like Darth Vader had to do before him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But does not seem to be the case.
Mm-mm.
Because as Kymir said, or as May says, it's not a test. He calls it the final lesson. The final lesson is one you teach yourself. You will kill a Jedi without a weapon. Attacking a defenseless person goes against everything the Jedi stand for. How do you kill someone like that, unarmed? It's not a test. It's impossible. And Kymir's like, it's not impossible. You know that, right? So I've been really chewing on this. Like, what does this mean? Like, what ultimately is the goal here? What is May supposed? Is May, because we've seen May just do a bunch of wire foo.
Yeah, and it is odd too that they worded it like that, because it's like, why doesn't she just go kill a civilian? And it's weird too that she even tells the Jedi, you know, attack me with all your strength.
Yeah.
It's really weird that, like, because
like harm me, right?
Yeah, harm me.
And I think it's because May doesn't understand the lesson, because it's so obvious now to me. How do you kill a Jedi without a weapon? Use the dark side of the Force. Get yourself backed into a corner with these people who wronged you, the Jedi, these 4 individuals who wronged you when you were a child, so that you have nothing else to do
except headbutt your way out,
but to just lash out with all of your hatred. Let your rage consume you.
Yep.
Force choke, force lightning, whatever comes out of you.
Strike them down, and your journey towards the dark side will be complete.
it's the dark side of the Force.
Yeah.
Like, is that obvious to everybody else but me? I was thinking about this earlier, and I was like, okay, imagine, like, as the audience members, right? We know the Sith, we know the dark side, we get all of that. We've not seen May really use the dark side.
No.
Imagine you're a teacher of the dark side, and you want to teach your student about this, right? Yeah, you could walk up and just be like,
Yeah.
hey, give them one of these,
Yeah.
Or
yeah,
you could force your acolyte back into a corner with the people that she loathes the most, that someone that you've been conditioning, that you've been indoctrinating her to loathe the most. Back them into a corner without a weapon, an unarmed person, so that she has no other recourse but to lash out with all of her hatred, all of her anger, and destroy them with the lasso the Force itself.
Yeah.
And destroy them with it.
I buy that.
What a way to teach someone how to use the dark side.
Mm-hmm.
I think that goes way beyond just being like, so you hold these two fingers here and this one here, and you just, and then boom, the trachea is gone, and you you did the work.
Yeah.
Because that's how you draw upon the dark side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not about, if I were thinking about the dark side, it's not about that. Like, that's a very practical way to look at Force choking. Is like, okay, you're literally, your hands are gripping around their neck, But if you think about it, like, it's coming from in here, welling up inside of you.
Yeah. It is interesting too, because I'm like trying to think about like the selfish angle. Where is that, like, where could that come in? Because that's such a dark side thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like, but I don't know if we're there yet. I don't know. I was trying to think of like the selfish part of the lesson. Yeah.
Well, you hate them. Right?
Yeah, I guess
hate them. You're selfish.
You're willing to do anything.
Revenge.
Yes.
You want to take a life. You want to selfishly wrestle the Force into your control.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the problem, right? May doesn't hate enough. Mm-hmm. This was a thing. I said it was a soft criticism in our first episode, because I was like, she's kind of doe-eyed, right? She doesn't have a she doesn't look like she's got a mean bone in her body.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
Is that
So what you're suggesting then is this show, it's called The Acolyte, but the characters of the Acolyte are going to change. Who is the Acolyte?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's interesting.
They got me on this one.
Yeah.
I'll be real.
I'm intrigued.
They got me.
Yeah.
If that's how that all is meant to be taken,
mm-hmm.
I think that is one of the coolest bit of Sith lore that we've ever gotten.
Yeah.
What a cool way to teach someone how to use the dark side of the Force.
Just put them in a no-win situation, basically. And so they're going to have to just call upon the dark side, literally, which, gosh, that book, that's every other chapter pretty much that they talk about calling onto the dark side and doing all kinds of crazy nonsense by doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, you have your Palpatines, and I think that we're all used to that, right? Where it's just torture. He just tortures his apprentices until they kind of
submit to his will.
And that's how their hatred and stuff wells up. Mm-hmm. But what about teaching them to draw upon their own hatred?
Yeah.
Well,
when you have like a beautiful situation like this, where it's like, all right, no, you got to kill all these people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One that may be manufactured by the Sith itself.
Exactly. That's the whole thing too, that it's like a manufactured hate, because, again, hate to keep bringing them up, like Darth Bane built a beautiful situation where all of their enemies could destroy each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe the Sith were like, again, the strings the entire time. Exactly. Get the witches into exile.
Yep.
Get one of them, brew these children, give them a new legacy.
Now let's get the Jedi going with them too. So now they have a reason to hate the Jedi and not us for doing this, and then have them destroy each other.
Yeah. Because that's
and
pretty...
Then, what?
I was just going to say, that's pretty deep at that point. Like, you have Faustian bargain leads into like grooming this child into like this assassin. And
And again, all your enemies kill each other without you lifting a finger, because, again, if this has to get swept under the rug or the political enemies figure out about it, it just cripples the Jedi and then lets you slide right in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the only thing left to ask about that is like, what is the Sith's angle?
Yeah.
Like, why do they care so much?
Yeah.
And is it just as simple as like, okay, we're laying the seeds for the grand plan? Or do they have a more personal stake in this?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe, here's a wild idea I just thought of. Like, maybe if Chimere really was the one, or the Sith in general, were the ones to help create these twins, maybe they did so under the the promise that they would help sire these children. And then the witches self-exiled, like Jojo said in the beginning of the show. And they took away these children.
Yeah.
Robbing them of the Sith's legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And now this is revenge against them.
Yeah.
Too.
That's interesting.
I don't know if that'd be true, but
Yeah.
it's a thought.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thought. So, whew.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Good stuff.
It's good stuff. Hey, we got a fun one next week, I think.
I think so too. Yeah. Watch it start with a flashback, as you said, and then it will go into the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see some light sticks smacking each other next week.
I would like to as well. That would be cool, especially with those moths out there that are attracted to the light sticks.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be some problems with that. Yeah.
We were really hyping up the lightsaber duels in this series. I'd like to see them pay off on that.
Yes. So we have not seen a lot of lightsaber smacking against each other.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we've done a lot of rambling, a lot of yammering.
Yeah.
I think it's time we hear from the homies at home with the fan question segment.
Hey, question.
Clear your mind of questions.
Every week on Instagram at Beyond the Dune Sea, I post a prompt in our stories, usually after the Acolyte episode airs on Tuesday evenings, but you can always find it on Wednesday mornings, asking you guys if you guys have any questions about whatever the topic of the week is. Of course, this week is about Acolyte episode 4, but you might notice once again, I got the old trusty mug in my hand because as of last week, we started something a little different here with the Acolyte episodes.
Yeah.
We just want to give some love to the other creators. We won't go into the whole speech again, but we're going to pull out just some random creators. We got a bunch of little slips of paper in here. We're going to pull out 2. And whoever we read, we'll throw them up on screen. And we just want you guys to raid those channels.
Yeah.
Throw likes down, nice comments. Tell them their hair looks nice.
Yeah.
They got some rad looking shirts on.
Yeah.
You like their sets. You like all that stuff. They got great commentary. All that stuff.
Like, subscribe, comment.
Yeah.
But all that jazz.
But at the very least, throw a like down on their most recent video. That's all we're asking you to do. First one. Well, how about that? We have Tales of the Force, Jessica. Her podcast, you can find her on Instagram. So if you want to go over to Instagram and give a like, she's also, I believe, on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. I'll throw up some information. I don't think she's on YouTube, but if she is, you will see it on the screen. She's great. She actually does something kind of unique in the community where she highlights more like about mental health, things like that in the community. More personal stories about Star Wars and things like that. So she's less yammering on about lore and when Ki-Adi-Mundi was born, like we are.
Yeah.
And she talks a lot more about stuff that it's a little more important. So she's great.
The fandom.
Yeah. So she does some great stuff. She also just did a great promoted a really nice charity recently about like getting books for a community in need that went through a really bad tornado down in Arkansas. So, and they raised quite a bit from what I understand. So
that's cool.
Good person.
Yeah.
Good account. Good podcast.
We went through a name change. We got Will of the Force.
Will of the Force. We got Tales of the Force and Will of the Force. Yeah. So Will of the Force.
Friend of the channel.
The artist formerly known as Diamond Figs.
Yes.
Will of the Force, friend of the channel here. Will, he recently started a new show on Mondays called Will of the Force. It's an awesome live show. What a slick little opening. He's got like this great jazz and whatnot. Also super hardworking when it comes to like putting out news, little lore drops on Instagram and on Twitter. He's great. He's awesome. I mean, a great corner of the fandom to be in. You're
in good company.
Yes.
Like
I'm struggling to find enough nice things to say about this guy because I mean, talk about a positive force in the community that we need more of.
Yeah.
That's Will of the Force. Great dude. And also it's just like, if you just want somebody just to listen to, or like, hey, you'll get daily little nuggets of like today he posted a fun thing about Qui-Gon, which I know not up your alley, But most of the fun thing about Qui-Gon, like a few days ago, he posted a thing about like where Ahsoka's lightsaber designs come from.
Yeah.
With like the samurai connection.
Mhm.
So just fun and the little digestible things like that. Or if you want some long form, his live shows every week are really fun too. So Will of the Force, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. I think that's the 4 platforms that he's on.
That's
Again, all that stuff will be on the description and hopefully up on screen at some point. So please check out those awesome creators. We'll also yes.
Yeah.
Throw down a like on their most recent video and we'll keep the love going.
Yeah.
Keep the love going. Don't just stop with those guys. If you see any
Gonna
other Star Wars creators that you like, don't be afraid. Throw down a comment and
we just want to share the love. That's all.
Some positivity.
Yes.
Need more of that.
A little bit of positivity in these dark times.
I can tell you just as creators, you never know what that positive comment might do to one of these guys' days. So you never know what kind of day they might be having. They might be having one of those days where they're all just getting the bozos, you know. And we need some of the homies, you know. Sometimes just one homie can negate 100 bozos.
It is true.
We're gonna have a shirt. One homie greater than 100 bozos.
Yeah.
Star Wars. I don't know.
Beyond the Dune Sea.
Speaking of, I know someone's now going to ask. Merch, it's in the works still.
No.
I had a baby, guys. Okay, I'm trying.
Yeah.
Okay, fan questions.
I don't know how to do that, so I can't help. Yeah.
We're all over the place today. Michael _Kramer 98. Do you think Ki-Adi-Mundi lied about the Sith not being seen in over 1,000 years? No.
I just don't think he's involved at all. I think that he's that one Jedi that they're all like that. Yeah.
I think at worst, he's being a little facetious.
Yeah.
But more than likely, he just isn't involved.
No.
Again, I think that there is a good question to be asked about, like, was this kind of a pointless cameo that unnecessarily throws some gas on the fire? Maybe.
I doubt it, though. I bet there's a reason.
Well, I meant like, yes, I think, but at worst, I think that's all it is. That's what I'm getting at. The Jim _Joe _cosplay, new face. Good to see it. On a scale of 0 to 5, how screwed are the unnamed Jedi and why is it -4?
Oh, I mean, that's a fact. That
100%.
I think that we are losing all the unnamed Jedi, and I think that we are either losing Soul or we're losing Yord in this fight. Like, that is...
Yord. We hope so, man. This show's about to go up to 10 out of 10 next
Did you see
week.
he had an earring in this episode?
No.
He's got an earring. I'm like...
So?
So
does Darth Maul.
I know, he does. But like Darth Maul, like they couldn't do anything about it. I'm just saying that like, if this guy not wearing a shirt, he's got a cool haircut, he's got an earring, like he's barely a Jedi. Walking around calling people civilian with his yellow lightsaber.
Can't stand him.
I know.
I can't stand him. Exact _tack.
Exact attack.
Right. Oh, it's spelled like XAQ. So, yeah.
Yeah, but like Zack Attack. Like,
okay, I'm going to call you Zack Attack.
I don't know. Well, like
Mundy will probably learn about the Sith. Do you think he's blowing smoke and TPM intentionally? This is what I'm saying about it possibly being like he's being facetious.
Yeah.
I don't think he would know it's a Sith. He might just know something was up and maybe he's like, whoa, bro. Yeah. Like, they've not been seen for 1,000 years. I
didn't have anything to do with it. Something that happened 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Don't go looking too far back.
Which, again, we don't need to get all up in arms about that if that's the case. Like, that's just, it's silly. It's just silly. And sometimes silly Star Wars is fun Star Wars.
Yeah.
Old Greg Foskett. How dope was the end scene? Acolyte floating downhill in red saber. The vibe says Nazgul. Ooh.
I got Dracula, but that's okay.
Hey, I can see Nazgul.
Yes.
I also some Dementor vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Old Greg Foskett also says, I think Seth is right, and it's going to turn out that one of the Jedi are secretly the Master / Acolyte.
It'd be cool.
One of the Jedi. Like I'm leaning. If it's anybody, I'm leaning toward Vernestra.
Yeah, I could see that too. That would be she seems like a very Palpatine-esque, where it's just like, just cold and everything, and just, I don't know, we can't do this. No, can't do that. She's got to whip out that light whip at some point, so she's fighting somebody.
I know she does.
Yep.
I'm going to be such a such a loser about that.
Yeah, I'll be a curmudgeon as well. I think it's silly.
From J_Williamson 94, also Ki-Adi-Mundi and Plo Koon. Sorry, you guys, it's not Plo Koon. It's another Keldor, and from our friend Will of the Force, because he grabbed this from the official Star Wars Twitter account. The name's Ithia Pan. Sorry,
Gotcha.
that's what I said. So not Plo Koon.
No.
Although I don't know, do all this might be a little prejudice to me, but do all Keldors just look exactly the same? Because I mean, he looked just like Plo Koon.
I don't know. Well, from a distance, we didn't actually get right up on him.
We got a nice medium shot of him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Looked just like him.
The face mask looked a little different, didn't it?
I didn't think so. Maybe I'm wrong, but
yeah.
Ali Natum, did anyone else squeal like a little girl when Toothy Sith Guy floated down? Spooky. I'm so proud of you guys for all calling him Toothy Sith Guy. We get a lot of those comments calling him that. And I'm like, I'm so proud of this community. I didn't squeal, but I was like, I hollered. I hooted even.
I was like, oh man.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Rebel_scum_art_apparel. Chimere is being too obvious, so it can't be that easy. But he did overpower May. Again, I think that it's not so much that...
Yeah.
I don't think it's...
You're going in thinking he's going to be the master, but the whole thing is there's a bigger batter out there.
Yep.
I think that's the real trick.
It's multiple people wear the mask.
Yes.
As Stan Lee said, anybody can wear the mask.
I love that idea because that was all in my head. So that, that like if that came true, oh man, that's crazy.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Darth_Christensen17. Do you think Chimere is the Sith Lord or is it Tenebrous before he trained Plagueis as a Sith? If Chimere is a Sith, he's not Tenebrous or Plagueis.
No.
I think he might be venomous or he's just his own dude.
Some other no-name Sith.
Yep. Darth Dentus.
Death. Poisonous.
Darth Poisonous. Scribble69TTV. I have no idea why, but the slow float down of the focus will now haunt my dreams forever. It's so good.
And it is spooky.
Dean of Cody, what'd you think about Toothy Sith Guy? Little float, horror movie vibes. Loved it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It was so good. Sir_Django_Fett, did you get a Predator-esque feel when they arrived on Kofar?
A little bit. I definitely got one when she made the little trap and she caught Chimere. May. Yeah. Like that felt like, oh my gosh, she went Arnold Schwarzenegger on him. Yeah.
Star Wars Sith 66. Do you think them adjusting Ki-Adi-Mundi's age means that they will adjust Plagueis' age? This is an awesome question, I think.
World's your oyster at this point.
This is actually what I wrote down. I messaged him about this, funny enough. I think that this could be the reason why you bring a Ki-Adi in here because it's a pretty innocuous cameo, other than, again, throwing fire or gasoline on the fire.
Yeah.
It sets the precedent to, hey, maybe we can tweak Plagueis' age a little bit.
Definitely.
Like, hey, let's get you primed. Okay, let's get the outrage over Ki-Adi out of the way.
Yeah.
Okay, we changed it from Legends. All right,
Yeah.
we're done freaking out. Okay, we're going to tweak Plagueis now a little bit.
Make him a slightly bigger character.
Yeah, now he's a little older.
Yeah.
Now he's the master.
Yeah. And then
could be.
No one's going to be upset about that. Everyone's going to think it's cool. Let's be honest.
No.
You think someone out there will be unhappy?
I'm the one who reads our comments.
I guess that's true. I don't venture into the comment section because I don't want to find pain.
If into the comment section you go, only pain will you find. That's not true. A lot of you guys are super nice. BC_Scrubs, why couldn't the Jedi protect themselves from the Sith's force push? I don't think they expected it.
Yeah, I think that they just, they unfortunately went in with their instincts and were not thinking about the idea of an attack.
Yeah, I don't know how much they could block that. It looked like a pretty powerful force. It looked like a repulse.
Yes, it just pushed all of them back. Yeah.
Blore on Mandalore. Has Soul seen Toothy Sith Guy before? Just like May, he could sense his presence in the Force. I think that was more like a, like Kanan and Ezra in Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
They're like running toward their ship. It stops. I feel cold. And then, right out of the doorway walks Darth Vader.
Yeah.
I think Soul was the same way. He was a little more in tune because of he was in tune to sort of what May was doing because of his personal connection, and he could feel that cold.
I think that, that like he experienced that evil that night. And I think that now he feels that same evil from that night.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Pro Jason Wingard, dark side user entered like a Dementor from Harry Potter. Hey, he sure did.
He did.
Sure did.
Oogie.
It's so cool. That was such a neat scene. I just really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Rippic_tan. Never tell me the odds of Master Mundi and a Wookiee's death happening on screen. Maybe that's why he's so concerned. Come Revenge of the Sith. He's like, guys, what about the droid attack on the Wookiees? It can't happen twice.
It's true.
I can't go through this trauma again.
Yes.
Please send someone. Please, Yoda.
You get this done.
Well, I made the mistake of not telling you the last time my Wookiee homies were in trouble.
It's true.
Get out there.
Do something.
He also said, this episode is great. I like that Smilo Force Push was a cliffhanger. I didn't. It was okay. It was a good cliffhanger. I mean, it makes me want more.
Yeah.
Josh Freiss, was the Acolyte greenlit before Dave Filoni was granted emergency powers or after? It was definitely greenlit before. I mean, this was announced back in late 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So this was at least greenlit sometime in 2020, which that's well before Filoni became chancellor.
Yeah.
Alec_Beard, haven't gotten to watch yet because my own twins were just born.
Hey, congratulations.
Congrats and happy late Father's Day, Alec. He's the one who made our logo, by the way. So that's the one right there. Yeah. Good dude. Congrats on the twins.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they're more like the Skywalker twins and not like May and Osha.
Yeah.
Just kidding. But yeah, congrats to you. Crafting_on_Ilum. Next episode better not start with the flashback with the huffing emoji.
Oh, it's happening. I'm just trying to prepare you all. It's happening.
I'll be so upset.
It is happening.
Nah, I don't think so. That other person though wrote, the same person wrote these 2 episodes. I don't know. We'll see. Zach Van Gundy. What a neat name. All right. What do you think is Soul's true account of the night of Brendok? Great question.
Yeah, I know.
I think that just judging on all the information we have, they got tipped off about these witches and about the twins. Something dark was going on. Mm-hmm. It's not just about, you were training children in the ways of the Force. We gotta check in on that. No. It goes deeper than that. They know something is going on here. Something is not so good.
Yeah.
They needed, because why send 4 Jedi?
Yep.
They get there. Some things are not going well.
Mm-hmm.
Quarrel maybe poisons some of the witches. A fight breaks out. I mean, we know that
blows,
from the trailer.
I think the witches are going to start taking over the minds of people and having the Jedi fight themselves.
Maybe Quarrel does that. Quarrel starts getting the Jedi to fight amongst themselves while she poisons the rest of the witches.
Yeah.
Soul witnesses a lot of this and is like, okay, I need to go get those kids out of here.
Yeah.
Witnesses May about to burn everything down. Maybe Quarrel's right there, and because I think she's got a part to play in all this too.
Yeah.
Maybe Tooth Guy's also here. May gets something. There's something to May burning everything down because there's a cut there for a reason.
Yeah.
I think Soul witnesses whatever happens there because he says he saw May start the fire.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest part of his sin is he let May die.
Yep.
I think that he saw her. I think he could have saved her and he let her die.
You see he lunges his hands out.
Yep.
And then before he grabs onto Osha.
And
could have force caught her.
Here's an even bigger thought. So the bridge collapses first. Yeah. What if Soul's the one to do that? What if he's the one to break May's? Because May's bridge breaks first, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
What if Soul's like,
just got to make it look like that.
I got to do it. Like, I have to. I hate this. I hate that this is what I have to do.
Yeah. But yeah. And that might be why he's so sure that she died. Because I did it. That's how I know that she died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. And and then there's that hole. Maybe Soul is, or not Soul, maybe Tooth Guy's down there in the hole, like kind of waiting, like in the fire.
Yeah.
In Mount Doom.
In the shadows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then final question, BC_Scrubs, back again. Are there any characters from Acolyte you'd like to see get their own series? And what about? I'd like to see Ki-Adi-Mundi get his own series. I'd like to see how he was born. I'd like there to be a calendar right next to him. I'd like to see when he's born. I'd like to see I'd like to see how long. Actually, I'd like to see him born in 93 BBY. He goes about 40 years of life.
Yeah.
And then he finds the world between worlds.
Yeah.
And then he gets into the world between worlds. He goes back. He's like, he like kind of tumbles through it. Maybe there's some misadventures there. Maybe we can have some fun. It's like some Turtles in Time stuff. It's like Kiadi Mundi through time.
Yeah.
And then like he goes back and fights like some Star Wars dinosaurs and then some like Star Wars space pirates for a little bit. And then
he's one of the voices that speaks to Rey at the end of Rise of Skywalker.
Right?
Exactly.
So cool.
And
then we're right back, and then he like kind of falls out of time.
Yeah.
And he's like, the door's closed. Where am I? Oh, I'm just so happens to be 40 years before I'm born.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm a Jedi. I might as well go check in on my homies.
It's true.
And then he's like, oh, well, I mean, okay, I guess I'll just hang out here and be a Jedi Master for a little bit.
True.
And then, he does that. And then, then basically gets back into the world between worlds. And then he pops back over to Phantom Menace, and he's all upset about the Sith.
Because he hasn't seen one.
But he actually went back 1,000 years. He's like, what? Actually, this red lightsaber guy.
Yeah.
When was the last time we saw one of these guys?
In fact, it was 1,000 years.
He flips the clock back 1,000 years, jumps back in, is like, I'll have you know. I mean, I went back a millennia, and that happened to be the last time a red lightsaber was ignited, as far as I could tell. And he comes back, and then he's popped back right into the Phantom Menace.
That seems pretty cool. I want a trilogy about Yord.
Yeah.
Yeah. All about how he got his lightsaber.
That might be the first Star Wars show I skip. We talked about bookends earlier. We bookended it with Kiadi Mundi. We ended it with Kiadi Mundi. So it's all about circular storytelling here.
Really laying on that sauce.
Yeah, just no dry chicken out beyond the dunes.
No, not at all.
What an episode. Okay. We had a lot of fun today. Hopefully you guys had a little bit of fun today. As always, let us know your thoughts. What did you think about Acolyte episode 4? Did you like it? Did you not like it? As always, let's keep the comment section fun. Let's keep it positive. Let's keep it constructive, most of all. Don't succumb to the dark side. Let's have some fun. And as always, guys, we'll see you all next week.